Welcome back to the Pack Fresh podcast, where we talk about all things Pokemon TCG and do a little peek behind the curtain of what it's like to be a seller in this space. And today we got a special episode. We got the one and only TCGarett with us, and that should be a good one.
Welcome, Garrett. We got a lot to cover here. You just started streaming November 2023. What was life like for you before streaming?
I worked a lot of jobs. Truthfully, I couldn't really hold the job. But right before streaming, I worked for State Farm as like an insurance adjuster. And that was brutal hell. It was horrible. And I got sick and tired of the corporate world. But I grew up always liking Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, ripping packs, whatever. But during State Farm, my buddy and I, every weekend, we'd spend our checks on ripping booster boxes, and we'd just rip to hit, just degenerate rips. And if we didn't hit, we'd run back to the store and buy another box. Boom, 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 boom. And then that's how everything started. And before State Farm, I used to cut trees for a living. So now we're here.
Do you remember the exact moment when you decided to try streaming Pokemon, and what pushed you to go for it?
Yeah, with the degenerate rip thing during State Farm, we'd buy a bunch of booster boxes. And I had, 10, 11 boxes just sitting on my table, and we were going to rip together. And it was Black Friday. And it was either I was going to go live or I was going to go out Black Friday shopping. And something in me was just like, go live. And so on that moment, I went live up here on the same desk. I didn't have a face cam. I streamed off my phone. And it was off a janky phone setup, bad mic, bad everything. I went live on TikTok for the first time. TikTok pushed 1,000 plus people in my live because it was like my first live, I don't know. But it wasn't like that any other time after that live. And this guy named James came in and bought for me. Yeah, I can't remember what pack he bought. But he bought a pack, and I was shaking so bad. I was so nervous because there's so many people. And I couldn't even open the pack. I was so nervous. I had to use the scissors to cut it open. And from that moment on, I was like, dude, I might not ever stream again, and I might just stay working. I'm going to rip this with my buddy and be done. But then James just kept buying packs and packs and packs. And then he messaged me after streaming. He goes, hey, I'm going through some stuff, but this is my first time. I downloaded TikTok tonight. I found your stream. And he goes, I've never even opened Pokemon before, but I liked your stream. And I go, okay. He goes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend enough money to get you comfortable with streaming and being comfortable around ripping packs, and we're going to get you there. And I go, okay, dope. At the time, I thought this guy was trolling, not really serious. Right. Like, it doesn't sound real.
Right.
But James came back every single night and ripped with me. At first, it was $50 here, $100 there, but then it was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and we just rip. And I was streaming to 4 to 10 viewers for months. And then James would fill energy breaks. I got more comfortable ripping packs with people. I eventually got like a face cam, and James was still there. To this day, James still comes in the stream and he'll buy something or he'll just chat, which is really cool. And that's how it all started.
The legend.
But James is a legend.
Awesome.
James is a legend.
No, it's definitely helpful to find somebody like that early on that believes in what you're doing and likes the stream to help you continue to make it grow.
Was there a moment for you that it clicked? I know you said you were really nervous your first stream. Was there a moment or a stream that you were, yeah, I really, really love doing this? Or was it just a gradual building of that and you're just getting better and better at it?
I think it was maybe a mixture of both. There's not really one stream that sticks out. But when I started, I was doing strictly Pokemon. And then I was like, well, maybe I can try One Piece. Maybe I can try Yu-Gi-Oh. Maybe I can do Lorcana. Because in my name, it says TCG. So just trading card game in general. And then I found out real soon that I didn't enjoy ripping Dragon Ball, One Piece, Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh as much as I love Pokemon. And it didn't bring the same excitement. And I think that's where it clicked. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take this serious. It was horrible, though, at the beginning. I would go to work from 7:30 in the morning till 6:30 at night, 7 o'clock at night. I would have to go on Facebook Marketplace for product or ordering it off random sites. And then it would take me till, I would go live every single night at 10:15 p.m. Central. That was okay, that's when I'm going live. And I'd stay live till 3, 4, 5 in the morning, take an hour and a half, 2-hour nap. And then I'd have to work at State Farm all day the next day. And I did this for, 5 months or so. And it was just killing me. It was ruining I'd say relationships around me, and it wasn't giving me quality time with the wife. And that's when I knew, hey, I got to take this serious, and I quit State Farm. I started streaming full time.
What was that decision? Did you struggle with that for a while? Were you going back and forth? Am I going to like actually make enough money? Is the next stream, I had a good stream. Next stream, you're like, I hope the next one's good enough. I don't know.
Yeah. So there's definitely streams where it was like, oh my God, I'm not making enough.
Yeah.
But then there were streams that would exceed it, right? So it balanced it out, but it was always that nerve of, oh God, am I going to make enough?
Yeah.
Were there any moments then, so some streams were good, some streams not as good. Were there any moments where you almost quit?
No. I
No?
don't think I ever had a spot in my life where I was like, I'm going to quit and I don't feel like doing this. Usually I get burnt out on jobs, but on this, I've never felt burnt out. If anything, I've felt more motivated for the next stream. So like you set like a number for sales one night and then you just keep going. Well, now I'm hitting this regularly. Okay, what's the next? And then say you hit like a new high. Say every stream after that, it doesn't feel like I did anything, right? So it always feels like a motivation.
What was it getting product back then? When you first started, I know your story, but what did you exactly start with on your first couple of streams? And then how did you build up? Because now you have pretty much every set ever and you're breaking all kinds of crazy boxes. How was that process? How did you get from that to where you are now? And what was that build, especially in the early time?
Connections were a huge part of it, especially early on. Product right now, you can't get on the shelves. But
Right.
product back then, you could find everywhere. Nobody wanted these sets. 151 flooded the shelves. Crown
Yeah.
Zenith was everywhere. And I was lucky to get distribution early on. So Southern Hobby accepted me early on. Magazine Exchange accepted me early on, and a couple of other of these Pokemon distributors. And they always had product in stock. You could order as much as you want, as much as you need. I also built a couple of relationships with card stores near me, and they would help me. I'd take over their leftover product and I'd stream it. Now, also, I'd have them order me extra product when I didn't have distro. So that really helped me out. And then Facebook Marketplace was the biggest thing for me. I didn't start going to card shows like until later on. And then once I started building these connections, I was like, I just want to keep going bigger and bigger and bigger. I remember my first XY Evolutions box, and I was posting it, and I was freaking out. Holy God, I'm so nervous to break this. And luckily it sold out. We broke it between 6 people, 6 packs each, and it was really dope. And it sold out, thank God. But after breaking that XY Evolutions, I was like, I want to go bigger. And I didn't go to black and white, I didn't go to platinum. I broke First Ed Jungle, my first box. And then I built a relationship with the guy that I bought Jungle from, and it was just like, that's it, take off from there.
I remember when you broke that Evolutions box and you were like shaking, cutting the wrapper off. You were being like so careful trying to get that off. And it's you take an XY and you're just like cutting that thing off.
Cutting it. Yeah. Well, at the time though, like $1,000 on a box was like, oh my goodness, great. You know,
Yeah,
like it
for
was
sure.
crazy because I was only ripping like Scarlet Violet Base, Brilliant Stars, like stuff like that, and going all the way back to XY. How do I know if it's real? Is this gonna go good? Is the box gonna get killed? Is asking 30 a pack too much, or 25 a pack, whatever it was at the time? I was really nervous. And that was really the turning point for me grabbing more expensive packs, is knowing if my community can not afford, but are they comfortable with spending more than $5, $6 a pack?
I always thought that was cool because I found you pretty early on. So watching that progression in real time was really cool. Because you would start an energy break and we would have that thing going. We'd have 2 spots sold. And we would be there for hours.
Yeah.
We'd be tagging people in the Discord, like waiting for people to get in. And you would do a break. And it was like instantly gone.
Instantly
All of a
gone.
sudden.
Yeah.
It was like crazy. And then we'd be doing like breaks all night. And it was awesome. It was just really cool to see that, just that progression of, and you've always had a knack to build a really strong community, especially now too. And was that important to you? Was that something that you had on your mind early on, that community? Is that something you knew was going to be part of it, or?
No, the community is more important than anything about the money, about ripping packs.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I don't, like, obviously money plays a part. You gotta eat, you gotta live, you gotta pay bills. But if you don't have community, you don't have anything at the end of the day. And I think a strong community that has your back, even in, say, other streams when people are talking crap about you behind your back, they know that you're legit and they can tell everybody else that you're legit. And not even just that, just running jokes from months ago and like people that want to support you and are there every night. I think it's stupid important, and I wouldn't be anything without community or my foundation from TikTok days.
I really think that the entire card culture based on relationships, and it's crazy to see we all met through Garrett. Wash started watching Garrett on TikTok, buying packs from him. Garrett reached out to me to start getting inventory through the store. And then that's how I met Wash. And a year and a half later, all the things that we've done has been just absolutely insane together. Crazy. So it's wild. It just clicks, right? Like,
it's insane. The fairy tale almost. It's a 1 in a million, I think.
Yeah. So when you started, you had no streaming experience on any platform or any online streaming. What were the first few weeks like when you started, and what was the hardest part of getting started? Basically, was it your money for inventory, the gear, your confidence? Obviously, you spoke to the fact that you streamed for a few months with very few people watching the stream, which is always a tough thing as well. It definitely helps when you have somebody consistently buying from you. But what were your biggest hurdles and challenges getting started?
Confidence for sure. So rolling way back when I used to degen with my buddy, he's, oh dude, you should check out Rip and Ships. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. He goes, you go on TikTok and you can have people open your packs for you. And I'm like, that sounds stupid. Like, why would you want anybody
I like to do it myself.
Yeah. Why would you want anybody ripping your packs? And he goes, I can lay in bed and pull bangers. I'm like, okay. One night we were on Discord. He goes, go to this channel and watch. So he went in on some packs and he hit some crazy, I can't even remember what the card was, but he hit like a top pull. And I'm like, oh, dude, that's sick. And then I started buying from a couple of these streamers back in the day on TikTok, and we became friends. And I was like, oh, dude, this is kind of dope. And he goes, dude, you have the personality for it. You should stream. I go, I'm not a streamer. And then, so I never looked at myself like, oh, I could go live, be one of these guys and stream and blah, 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 blah. I always thought it was weird. And then we didn't really talk about it ever since then. But rolling up to Black Friday, it was like just kind of stuck in my head. That whole conversation was, I can go do this. I can go do this. I was not confident in myself enough to go stream. Like I said, when I started ripping that first pack, I was so nervous. I almost never did it again. Talking in front of people was never my strong suit, especially even in school. I was like, this ain't gonna work for me. And then the first couple weeks of streaming, in the back of my head, I go, dude, this is weird. I'm like talking to myself in a room. Yeah. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm just reading chat. And then I get so hyper obsessed with something that I dive into it 125%. It goes with anything. So I started sacrificing time. So that was really hard with the wife and I at first, because I was like working and then streaming, working, streaming, no time.
Right.
Then I stopped going to like family events because I had to stream. So that was the biggest hurdle to overcome. Time management, I would say, actually, to put it in like a whole, was the hardest to overcome. And then that's when I knew I had to quit my job and either choose streaming or choose State Farm, and streaming won.
Yeah, work-life balance is definitely hard, especially when you're starting up. You have to choose the work, or else you'll never be able to put in enough time to take it to the next level. But yeah, it's definitely hard for the people, especially the people around you that have never done anything like this. They're always a 9 to 5, 40-hour a week. They don't have these aspirations. They don't understand it, and then it causes a lot of frustrations. That's definitely one of the hardest things. Is I understand you want to spend time with me, but I have to do this in order to get to where I want to go. And I can see like it stacks up. And how many months was it from starting streaming until you quit that job?
5 to 6, I would say.
5-6 months that you're doing that. And you streamed how many days a week typically?
I was 6-7 days a week for months.
Working 5 days a week full time, streaming 6 to 7 days a week. That's not even including the shipping time and all that. Yeah, there's always a lot going on.
Yeah, I would take my lunch breaks, and that's when I'd drop off packages. Or even, I know I'd come to your store and pick up product during the day. I was putting every single dollar I had back into the business, and I was not thinking twice about it. If my bills were paid, I would have $0 in my account. As long as I had product, I was good to go.
You were good. It was wild. I remember back then, like, you had the most random assortment of products, but that was one of the things that attracted me to your shop. Even you had these like random Pokemon Go boxes, because I was like pretty new back to the hobby when I found you.
Yeah,
I was just like, whoa, I haven't seen that before. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll rip that thing.
The Dragonite Pokeball, and then I had and then the Alolan Executor boxes. I had a ton of those. Those were cheap though back in the day. Pokemon Go was only $2-3 a pack back in the day. I was selling the boxes I think for $15, and there's 4 or 5 packs in there. So I wasn't making anything off those boxes, making $2 a box, very very cheap after shipping. But I just thought it was cool to have in a store. Somebody might rip in this. I mean, I bought a ton of them.
This is back then to now. When you're looking for stuff for the shop, are you just looking for anything that's cool? Like, this looks cool, let me try to grab that. Or do you have a vision in mind? You're, oh, I really want Unified Minds. I want to do a bunch of Unified Minds right now. Let me go find a bunch of that. Or are you just going to a card show now, or back then, just whatever you could find, you're just, that look cool, I'll take that and let's get it in the shop.
Basically, my way of purchasing is if I would enjoy ripping it, I bought it. But now, with the amount of product I have, I just go to card shows to restock on like certain products, whether it be Sun and Moon, XY. If I'm low on Cosmic, I'll go and buy a bunch of Cosmic, so I have it. Vintage boxes, I can order directly. I've built really good relationships where they'll just overnight me the boxes. So when I go to Collecticons or front row card shows, I'm looking for weird blisters or weird products that you never see. And I have the rarity of that blister just to be able to like showcase and, hey, you want to rip something cool?
Was there a particular stream or a moment in a stream where everything changed? So you have a lot of the base packs, Scarlet Violet base, very cheap packs. You do the evolutions. You've then ripped your first true WotC vintage box. Ever since then, you've ripped close to, if not almost every box Pokemon has made. Is there a moment along there, or was there several moments where you thought to yourself, wow, this is crazy, and everything changed for you? Is there like one key moment where you were on this uphill rise and you said, this is the moment, or is there like several milestones along the way?
There is 2. So during the XY Evolutions box, I was still working, and when I broke my base set box for the first time, I was still working. I quit the next day after base set. So the XY Evolutions opened up new doors where like, hey, my community will actually rip more expensive packs. And then I realized real quickly, like the adrenaline these more expensive packs that we're ripping gave me, oh my God, I love this. So that's when I started hunting these bigger boxes. And then I focused on a bunch of the smaller products a ton still, but I looked for XY, Sun and Moon, stuff like that. So I bought Jungle and we did not sell it out the first night, which was expected. Took a couple nights or like maybe a week, we sold it out. But my next box I bought was base set. And that was one of the craziest streams I ever had. I think we had like 500, 600, 700 people in the room on TikTok. It was just nuts. And it sold out that night. And I was like, holy God. So I quit. And then that's when I started buying vintage. I think I bought Fossil the next day or the day after. And shortly after that, I got offered, not a deal, but hey, come test this out on Whatnot. And probably 2 months after that, that's when I broke Discovery for the first time. I think I did Discovery and Legend Maker my first night on Whatnot. And we sold out Whatnot that night. And with hundreds of people in the room, I was like, oh, this is dope over here too. With the auctions. And then ever since then, it's been history.
I remember when they reached out to you for that. I had just did some work with them, and they're split down the middle, sports and TCG. They fell short on a few of their promises, and you were a rock star on TikTok at the time. I was talking to you and you're, I don't know if I'm going to do it. I remember you called the rep and you're like, these are my concerns. And they're, oh no, we don't do that on the TCG side. They guaranteed you a bunch of stuff. And obviously now it was a great decision to move over. Definitely helped even keep propelling you even farther than you were on the TikTok side of it.
Yeah. I remember how back and forth, because we would have conversations about it. And we were like so back and forth that even after you'd moved. Oh, should I do one day here? Or like do like afternoons here, then go back over there. And we were so torn. Everybody talking. Looking back on it, it's, oh, this was the best decision you could have ever made.
The best, yeah. If you could see into the future, I was so cautious though because I just quit my job.
Right.
And this is my living over here on TikTok. And like I have no name on Whatnot. Yeah. So I was very terrified. How am I going to eat? I'm going to pay mortgage. How are the wife and I going to go do dates and pay your vehicle and blah, 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 blah. It was just like a lot.
And then on top of that, the fans or your community, obviously you're not going to get 100% of them to transfer. Some people are like TikTok only. A lot of customers prefer a certain marketplace. So you're going to lose a certain market share by transitioning to whatnot. I could see when you were deciding to go back and forth, oh, maybe I stream a night here. I don't want to lose out on this. And that's a very tough decision to make as a creator as well.
It was really tough. And what was weird to me was that Whatnot doesn't have where you can post videos. On TikTok, you can post a product update video, and while you're live, it pushes the video out and gets people into your live. Whatnot has none of that. So they either got to click on your live or they'll never see you. So that's what really made me nervous. But they showed love from the beginning until now, which I'm very grateful for.
You've opened up a lot of boxes, all the different sets, WotC to current modern. What has been your favorite card you've pulled live so far?
Oh, goodness. My favorite card that I've ever pulled, there's a couple.
Okay.
Torchic Gold Star was really good because the box seemed like it didn't have a gold star in it. I think it was in the last 4 packs. I think that was a W. Rayquaza Gold Star might be the craziest pull I've ever had. So we just cracked a EX Deoxys box. I shuffled the packs. The buyer picked pack right 1, and it was a Rayquaza Gold Star. It was the craziest thing in the entire world.
Pack, yeah.
That was a stupid, crazy pull. Otherwise, the Torchic Gold Star. All of the Gold Stars mean a lot, but pulling like Torchic, Treecko, Rayquaza, those are some of the hardest Gold Stars to pull. Harder to pull than like a first ed Charizard. I don't know. The Gold Stars resonate with me pretty well. It can be a tie between the 3.
I was going to say, taking a step further, what's the most memorable break for you? Is there a box in particular that was a really cool experience, or that was a really, oh no, experience? My brain goes straight to the Rayquaza on Deoxys because I just pulled the top chase of pretty much Pokemon on the first pack of the box.
On the first pack, yeah, and destroyed my box. 35 packs left. And it's not a cheap box. Honestly, I can't remember what other box we were breaking. It might have been Holland or Unseen. I can't remember at the time. And I had a Skyridge box sitting underneath it, and this guy comes in and goes, what will it take to break Skyridge? I don't know, if you buy 3 art sets or something, which is 12 packs. And he goes, okay, run it. Oh, God. So we broke it, and we sold out Skyridge in 45 minutes, and I think that was one of the craziest breaks that we had because it was not planned, and it went perfect. We didn't hit like a crazy crystal. We hit like reverse crystals.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think that was one of the craziest breaks, other than the Deoxys Gold Star, right?
That was pretty wild. That reminds me of, and this doesn't happen too often. I remember there was one time somebody came into your stream and bought an entire booster box of Fossil or something. It was like a
Crystal
old
Guardians.
WotC or something, and just bought the whole box and just no weighing anything, just ripped the entire thing. It was Scarlet and Violet base. And I remember there was so many people on your stream, and it was the coolest thing is you're just ripping everything.
Yeah.
Just how it's supposed to be. It was awesome.
That was YG Marley. It's Bob Marley's grandson.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, so he came in and he did that on another box too. I can't remember what the other box was, but he'd love to just come in and rip and rip and rip. I'm like, dude, oh my God, we can weigh these when you can have a collection of light packs. He didn't care. Yeah. So he came in, and then I did say Crystal Guardians. We had another guy come in. He's an NBA player, but he came in and just bought out. I had 33 packs of Crystal Guardians left. And he bought out the whole box just looking for a gold star, which was nuts.
So wild. Did he hit one?
No.
Oh.
Unfortunately.
They're like 1 in 3 or 4 boxes on Crystal, but
yeah,
it's tough.
I think that's a good segue. How do you deal with that aspect of it? You have people coming in spending a lot of money. I'm sure a lot of them know the risk. How do you deal with when somebody comes in, spends a lot, and just doesn't do well? Because it's part of the game, right? It's part of ripping packs, part of the whole thing. How do you like mentally handle that?
It's very hard for me to handle, to be honest. I get that these guys come in and are, okay, either I get it or I don't. And on their end, they probably don't care, right?
Yeah.
But on my end, with a bunch of eyes on you, right? You got 200, 300, 400 people in the room. I got to make this right. It not just to look good, but me personally, I'm like, dude, that sucked. Let me help you out. So I'll throw insurance. I'll either give them free booster packs of a different vintage set, or I'll give them a huge discount, or I'll throw them like $1,000+ graded card, or just like something to make it, here you go, at least you're going home with something.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, if you come to my stream, whatever, I want to make sure you're happy leaving out of here. Here's something to go for the road. Not 5 Brilliant Stars packs. If I see you really chasing something, I don't care about the money amount, but if I see you like really hunting something and you don't get it or get anything like relatively cool, then I'm going to help you out and throw you something.
Even with no prior stream experience, people describe you as just having an electric presence on screen. Is that natural, or is it something you've built over time?
I would say everything that I do is natural. I turn on the camera and I just be myself. I get a lot of like up and coming streamers or people that want to stream, and they come into the chat and ask, hey, do you have any tips? And my number one thing is just be yourself and be honest. Otherwise, people are going to catch like the fake you really, really fast after a couple streams. You could have 4 streams that are manipulated, but then like your 5th, 6th stream, what if you're a whole different person? So I just try to keep it straight every stream.
That makes sense. So when we started the episode, you were talking a little bit about having the crappiest mic, a phone. You didn't have anything really set up. What does your current setup look like now compared to that?
A huge difference. I know I went through probably 15 different lights, a handful of microphones. My mic used to sound horrible. I used to sound like a robot. I went through a couple different cameras, a couple different face cameras. I was led into the right direction by Wash. And I used to not want to spend any money on any upgrades, but then I realized soon it helps with the stream. It benefits everybody. So then I started putting money into my upgrades, and I feel like that not gain more trust, but you looked more legit, even though you are already legit. If you have a proper stream setup, you look professional.
Yeah. How early on did you bring the fireplace in? Was that right away?
That was right away.
That was like first night you had the fireplace going.
Right away when I had the dual split.
Okay.
So when I had face cam up top and then like your hand cam stuff down at the bottom, that's when I had the background with the fireplace.
I feel the TCGarett fireplace is an iconic thing now.
It is an iconic thing. I love it. It's funny too, because when other people have the fireplace in the background, people will go into their streams and be like, dude, you're not Garrett or whatever, you know, change the fireplace. I think it's funny. I love the fireplace. It's cozy.
I always love the people who come in and are, is that real?
It's gonna burn the packs.
Yeah.
So we talked about your favorite pulls out of all the sets that you've ripped. Have you had any unforgettable moments with fans on stream? Fans or customers, they become friends, I guess. You build relationships with the community. Any moments with any of them chasing some card and all of a sudden it's after X amount of boxes, packs, whatever, anything like that? Maybe something I'm not even thinking of.
Unforgettable moments. I think it would go down with a strong one as an Els. And Els would come in every night and we'd be like just chasing stuff, gold stars, crystals, you name it. And one of the big pulls I know we were chasing was the Trico Gold Star. That's why it sticks out to me too, is it was at the end of the box. Him and his sister practically went through the whole box looking for this Gold Star. And we'd weigh them. They'd buy them, we'd weigh them. I'm just like, light. And then they're like, screw it. They bought the rest of the box, I think it's the 4 6-packs. And one of them was heavy. We ripped it and it ended up being Trico Gold Star. And that's before Nels bought the PSA 10 of it. But then we hit the Trico and it was oh my God, we finally did it. Because that was my 3rd Team Rocket Returns box, I think, at that time. And we were hunting Gold Stars. So 2 out of my 3 Team Rocket Return boxes had Gold Stars. My first one did, second one didn't, and then third one had the Trico. I think that's like unforgettable because he'd ask all the time, grab another TRR. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. You know, and we just rip.
All right, I want to ask you kind of like a lightning round of questions, okay? I'm going to ask a question, shoot me an answer, we'll go on to the next one. I got 6 questions. Let's get started with the first one. Favorite Pokemon of all time?
Gengar.
Most underrated Pokemon?
Trico.
Dream set to rip?
Fire Leaf Green.
Worst card to pull on stream?
Rayquaza Gold Star first.
Rayquaza Gold Star first pack, yeah.
Favorite snack during streams?
I don't eat during stream.
Not at all.
No.
One streamer you admire?
You as in Zilla.
Good choices, absolutely. So as far as TCGarett goes, you've been doing this about a year and a half. Where do you see yourself a year from now, 5 years from now? What's your plan? What's your goals, your benchmarks you're looking for?
Honestly, I don't really think that far. A year from now, I imagine myself still streaming. 5 years from now, I don't know. Maybe have my own card shop. I really don't know. Maybe having streamers underneath me. I don't know. Ripping Modern, and maybe I come on to do like the big breaks. I have no idea. I am currently not burnt out and I'm nowhere near burnt. So I want to keep streaming as long as possible until I reach that, I guess. Maybe setting up at Collecticons or doing shows. I haven't really thought that far.
Is having a card shop something that you would want to have in the future? Is that not necessarily a goal, but is that something you've thought about?
I think it'd be something cool to wind down with. I know the hobby pretty well. I know Pokemon pretty well. But I already have like distro, so it'd be easy roll in. But other than that, I don't know what else I'd do. I feel like this is all I know.
Right.
And get me out of the house.
So you've done a lot of breaks with your friends and other people, some celebrities. Is there any people alive or dead, celebrities, creators that you would love to do a collab with in the future, like your dream collab scenario?
I don't know if I necessarily have a dream collab. Somebody I look up to in the vintage scene would definitely be Cool Trainer Ryan. So I think it'd be cool to do a break with him and just pick his brain and get excited and geek over cards. Other than that, I think a horror movie star, Ari Lehman, he's Jason Voorhees. I think that would be dope.
That would be pretty sick.
I think that'd be really cool. Otherwise, Corey Taylor out of Slipknot. I think that would be
you.
super sick.
I would love to see that.
Right.
That'd be awesome.
It's interesting the amount of collaborations, the amount that could happen, these potential breaks with different people, athletes, actors and actresses, and we can combine that all with Pokemon. And this whole idea of even being a YouTube star mixed with being on the big screen or playing in a professional sports league, and it all ties back to collecting as a child and really just harnessing that collection and then getting back into it at an older age once you have adult money.
I do find it very interesting when I find out about people who are famous or whatever it is collect cards. There's a lot more people than I ever expected, and people who I would have never expected are into it, which I always think is cool.
When Zilla told me we're doing a break with Walk of Luck of Flame, I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
But he is just a true, in the best way possible, a big nerd. We're all big nerds, but he's like a genuine loves Dragon Ball. He loves Pokemon.
Right.
And it's so pure to see. You would never expect it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When people come into the store, one of the first questions I ask them is, what do you collect? And some people will tell me nothing. And I said, everybody collects something. It doesn't matter what it is. Everybody collects. Some people collect more than others. Some people collect multiple things, but everybody has to have one true thing that they collect or treasure. It doesn't have to always cost money. It could be something that's free. It could be a type of experience. It could be quite a few different things, but it's interesting when people start to tell me, I don't collect anything, and I'll follow that question up with, there's got to be something. There has to be something you collect. It's just like human nature, something that you have as a hobby or admire or collect. As you started with no experience and then grew to this almost superstar in the Pokemon ripping world, what would you tell someone sitting on the edge of chasing their dream on the fence, whether to go in or not?
I'd say send it. Do it. My biggest problem in life is if you're very passionate and it's always on your brain and you're wanting to do it, you should do it. I think even if you do it and you end up failing, it's better knowing, hey, I tried, it didn't work out, than to always think about it, right? What if? I don't like what ifs. I just like to push it and see what happens. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. On to the next.
All right, we got to the point where we're going to do the pack battle. You picked Cosmic Eclipse.
I did.
To go, that's that.
Hey, yo, let's get into it.
I'm whooping your ass.
Oh,
That's crazy.
Come on, baby.
come on.
Show me tag team.
Oh,
One of us has to get tag team.
you
Right?
got it, right? All right, I'm to the reverse. You're to the reverse. Ready?
3, 2, 1.
Not me.
Oh
my
God.
That's how we do it.
Oh my God.
They call me Sunflora Cooked.
That's how we do it.
One day I'm going to win one of these, I swear. I never have any luck with pack battles.
I don't either.
We're going to post Garrett's Instagram in the description of the video. Make sure you guys shoot him a follow. Get on Whatnot. Check out one of his streams. Make sure to check out Wash, myself. All of our contact info, as always, will be in the description as well. And we'll see everybody in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.